Can I taste your juice?
Well, hey folks, PBusardo. No, I don't have the stocking behind me for this video because we're not going to add anything to the stocking. That's not entirely true. Stick around. We are going to talk a little bit about this little green box here, Zamplebox. We've talked about this before. I've given some of these away before. Basically what it is an e-liquid subscription company, right? And I've met some of the folks from Zamplebox. I've been to the Zamplebox Facebook. They have a fantastic community there. But why should I tell you about Zamplebox? Why don't we meet the founder of Zamplebox, Tony? Look, I love it. I love it. You never know who's going to come through that door. It's really exciting, and it's exciting to have you here. How you doing, bud?
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, awesome.
So you were in the area, and you were doing some business here.
That's right.
You got a hold of me. I said, "Come over and
let's
just bull beep
yep.
for a little while."
Hello, friends of Phil. It's awesome. Love being here. I've wanted to come out of that door for a while, so it's been cool to see Joe from Vaping Militia.
Joe came through the door. Brandon came through the door.
That's right. A lot of people have come through the door.
Dimitri has come through the door.
Yep, that's right.
Who's next? I don't know. Zen has come through the door.
Yeah, that's right.
And now you have come through the door.
That's true.
Of course,
the rite of passage.
He came through the door as the office is being redone back. It's really terrible, isn't it?
That's true. And we're chilling out with
we're actually drinking wine for this video. This never happens, okay? But I think for these videos, for these interviews, it's not even an interview, it's just a chat session, right? I think we're going to do the wine from now on.
I think it's great. You know, I'm just happy to be here. Where do we begin? There's so much.
You tell me, because you had some things that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, for me, and you know, vaping is awesome, obviously.
You think? It really
I'm just not exactly sure where to start, but we should just dive in and talk about battery safety, I think. You know, it spawned this conversation between Phil and I when I'd gotten back from New York just 2 weeks ago, and I had visited several different vape shops, and it was awesome. The vaping community in New York is unlike anything on the West Coast. It's just different. I think state by state vaping is very different.
It is totally different, and I notice that every time I do the big West Coast events like
right.
BCC and everything. It seems to be more geared towards mechanicals, a lot of I call it volume vaping now. I don't call it that other thing anymore. That's my new thing. That's what I call it, volume vaping. You know, kind of low resistance builds.
That's right.
And with all of those things, there's some stuff that we should know about.
It's
right?
you know, sub-ohming to the level of, you know, 0.2 and below, I would say is it becomes the action sport equivalent of vaping. It's like, you know, you have biking, and then you have a street bike, you have a mountain bike, and then you have bikes that people go and jump like 50-foot cliffs off of, right? I'd say in vaping we have an equivalent. We have, you know, Blues and Enjoys, the Sigalikes, right? And then we have our tank fed systems with, you know, starting at typical Ego or EVODs. And then you have, you know, something like this, which is awesome, the new Aspire Atlantis.
He likes it too, by the way.
Huge fan.
Right, I just gave it a thumbs up the other night.
That's a great way to go. I fully approve of that.
Uh-huh.
And then you have, you know, you get into drippers, and then what we've seen, I think, over the last year is like this race to the bottom. You know, who can get to 0 ohms if it were possible, who can get as low as possible, as quick as possible. And that's what scares me. And so I think that it'd be great for us to, you know, chat a little bit about that.
Sure.
and battery safety. So when I was in New York, you know, 2 weeks ago, I was at a few vape shops, and it just blew my mind how, you know, how little consumers knew about battery safety. And I'm not here to point fingers and say, you know, what are you doing? You know, what are you doing? But it's more so we as an industry really just need to up the education across the board. You know, when a customer comes into a vape shop and they don't understand basic Ohm's law, and, you know, the vape shop is doing a build for them, and it's a, you know, 0.2 ohm build, yet their battery is, you know, like a 15 amp battery, that's a serious problem. And so that was my experience at multiple, you know, vape shops, is that consumers were largely unaware.
Yeah. And well, first of all, it's a huge jump to go from the traditional tobacco cigarette to, you know, electronic vaping, right? And then battery safety becomes a lot more important when we're talking about mechanicals, obviously. And you know, the people are just used to they're taking the cigarette out of the box the same way they have their entire life. They light it up and they don't have to think about anything. They don't have to you know, understand settings and battery safety and resistance and Ohm's law. It's kind of why I would rather somebody start off, you know, a little bit slower and not jump right into something like that. You know, you're talking about, you know, the shop, and you're talking about people not understanding. I'm going to give you a little example. I had a friend come over. Okay, this is about 2 weeks ago now. They went to a shop in Rochester, and they came here and they said, "Phil, what is this? I don't even know how to use this." And they showed me a mechanical. The shop sold them a mechanical, and they put a 0.2 ohm build in it, right? And he knew nothing about the device. He knew nothing about what battery to put in the device. He just
it's a problem.
They gave him.
And I think that's. I mean, it's not even just me thinking that. I know, and you know that this is an issue. And, you know, we talked about this a little bit before, is that the big problem right now, and this was originally brought up by Ian, he's on our team. Ian, shout out, amazing analogy here.
I did not give you permission to give anybody a shout
out. You know, Ian brought up this really good point that from like childhood, like literally right out of the gate, you know, Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas, or Hanukkah, or if you don't celebrate Hanukkah, your birthday, you get a present, right? And you open up that device, and what does it take? You know, does it take a AA battery? Does it take a AAA battery? We've always been focused on the size of the battery. And so when you buy a device and you see that it needs an 18650, you don't think about the technical specifications of that battery. And you really shouldn't have to in either case. I mean, as a consumer, it's not something that should be expected of you to know about Ohm's law. However, that is the precise situation we're in today. You need to understand Ohm's law if you use a mechanical. If you do not understand Ohm's law, you are putting yourself at risk, you're putting those around you at risk, and you're putting the entire industry at risk. And you're putting all of those that have yet to quit smoking at risk. And that's a really serious problem.
Right. So, I mean, we know, because I experienced something bad happen at that Texas event. And, you know, to this day, I still say that I wished, I wished I could have every one of you out there right now just experience that, right? Because until you actually see it happen and understand the power that you're dealing with, you don't really take it seriously.
Sure.
You know,
you had mentioned it sounded literally like a pipe bomb.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, we joke around. We say, you know, it becomes a pipe bomb, but in reality, we have a metal tube, right? And if the metal tube can't vent fast enough, what does it do? It becomes a pipe bomb. That's what it is, right? But yeah, I've even had like one of my smaller mechanicals, a 14500 short on me, and the thing got so hot. Luckily, I caught it in time. But you know how, like, when something is so hot, when you touch it, you don't feel the heat, but you feel the sizzle from the oils in your finger. That's what I felt, right? So, you know, luckily I was able to get to it.
And I think that this is something that is, I hope that with this video we can accomplish one thing, and that's to bring this out of the shadows within the industry. I think that this is happening on a large scale, but I think people are embarrassed to talk about it. You know, if you have a battery that vents or your device gets really hot, you're probably not going to immediately go on your favorite vaping group and tell everybody about what you just did, because you're going to get people are going to point fingers at you.
Right.
And this actually happened to me. I was in Tampa at an event. I had given a mod to a friend that I was with. I specifically told them that you should not fire it. Don't put it in your purse. Don't put it in something that, you know, without it locked, otherwise it can fire. But there was a lot of stuff going on that safety precaution was not taken. The device got insanely hot. The person, you know, in the cab, we were taking a cab, and they were in the back seat, and they were like, "Hey, Tony, like, it's getting really hot. Like, what do I do?" And they threw it up to me, and it just scorched my hand. I threw it out the window. It was a Nemesis. I just threw it away. I just tossed it out the window. So if the Tampa municipalities want to slap me with a littering fine, I'll pay for it. But I'd rather that happen than the thing freaking blow up. Yeah. Injure myself, cab driver. We need to avoid that situation. It starts with battery safety. Yeah. And you know, we talk about it. I talk about it sometimes. Other reviewers talk about it, and it's just something that really shouldn't be taken lightly. It should be taken seriously. You probably saw him. I think it was in Europe. Yeah. There was like I mean, it was a photo of a guy's leg. He was laying in a hospital bed. And to see that, I mean, it was like the guy who was in a war, you know,
Yeah.
and it's the last thing that anybody wants,
Yeah.
whether you're a shop owner, whether that's, you know, you having your device explode. I mean, you know, your kids, I mean, whoever it is, I mean, that's just not a good thing
Right.
for all the reasons said before.
Right. So when I say I care about you, I mean I do. I mean that's why I talk about some of those things, and that's why you should
I
kind
mean,
of take some of it
case
seriously.
in point, like, you know, initially people were concerned about e-liquid. Is e-liquid safe? Are you going to take a vape and die? You know, we don't know about the long-term effects of vaping. We just don't. Anybody that claims they do is just, they're lying. It's just not true.
Right.
We
But-
don't understand the long-term effects.
Right. The reports are coming in. The reports are looking good. The studies are looking good. The data that I've read, you know, looks good. But it's testing.
That's
And
right.
It needs to continue. It needs to go on. And you're right. I mean, long-term exposure, we don't know yet. That's why I put the little disclaimers at the beginning of the video. Use these products at your own risk, right?
We know, what we know is that vaping is a very effective way at getting somebody to quit smoking. It has not been endorsed by the FDA as a legitimate means of quitting smoking, but it is, through independent research studies, very effective at getting people to quit smoking.
It worked for me.
Yeah, and it worked for me, and it worked for you, right? So that being said, the point here is that it went from, as an industry, the e-liquid being the concern. Now, my personal opinion, it's the batteries. We've gone from Cigalikes to open style devices like Egos, Evods, you know, and tanks, to now a huge portion of vapors is feeling the pressure, I think, to migrate towards dripping atomizers, and there's a lack of understanding that it's not just about, hey, the battery has, you know, the battery is an 18650, so I'm going to put it in there. You have to understand your build. You have to understand the battery that you have in there. Is the battery within its lifespan?
Right.
You know, that's why actually below in the description we've supplied an educational, you know, infographic that I think you should really put up in your store. If you're a customer or a patron of a store, you should really have them put this up. Have them make copies, print it out. It's a PSA. I mean, you know, supplied free of charge. This is just something we need to get ahead of as an industry,
Right.
before it bites us, you know, in the behind.
Yeah.
So when I saw that photo, the one where, you know, it looked like the guy had been in a war zone, that was the turning point. It wasn't.
And I was going to ask you that. Tony, because you know, when you talked about coming over here and just like sitting down and having a chat, you kept mentioning battery safety, and I've talked to you before, and this has never come up with you before,
That's right.
right? So there had to be a turning point. There had to be something that, like, okay, I want to talk about this, because you guys know me. I'm really not that preachy, you know, when it comes to this stuff. I do talk about it on occasion, but I don't want to be preachy. You know, you guys are, hopefully you're all adults doing the things the right way. But you wanted to come and talk about this. So what happened?
Yeah, for me, okay, seeing what happened in Texas was bad. And I think that sent out a warning. It was like a warning shot across the bow, you know, for the industry. What sealed the deal was seeing those photos of the gentleman in the ER, you know, and that's a serious situation. When I saw that, I immediately established a policy internally within Zamplebox. You know, you are not allowed to have a build below 0.25 ohms at Zamplebox, period. And if you are using a rebuildable dripping atomizer, you need to use a 35 amp or higher rated battery, period, you know, from a reputable brand. And I think that's something that needs to be established. It's also in those documents I referred to. There's one that vape shops should really post up, and I think we need to adopt some sort of standard in semi-public places. I think it's very important.
Okay. So you've supplied some information. Are we doing?
We're doing footsie down
Your
below.
your foot was
Yeah.
on my chair. Just
That's
for the
right.
record. 'Cause
Yeah.
you have giant,
I have huge
legs because you're tall.
Yeah, I could stand up and I'll hit my head.
I know
so.
this is a very tall, it's very low ceilings. So I apologize in advance because you will hit your head like Brandon did on the way out. But so you've supplied some information. It is in the description of this video, and it's going to be in the links up on tasteyourjuice.com too. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. So did you come here just to be preachy, or did you want to talk about other stuff?
Honestly, I love talking about the hard stuff because, you know, I and Zamplebox, we're in the position of, you know, family and community first. I started Zamplebox because it was all about providing, you know, an easy, you know, fun and reliable and cost-effective way to get people, you know, transitioned away from tobacco, right? And that involves safety. I mean, safety, safety, safety. The whole reason you're getting off of tobacco is because you believe that your health will be better by not smoking tobacco cigarettes.
Right.
So I don't want to see people being led, being sold a false
bill of,
I don't really know what the right word is. Maybe it's too much wine, but like you get what I'm saying. We don't want to be telling people, we don't want a smoker to go into a vape shop, be given a rebuildable dripping atomizer with a build that they just had done, and not understand what's going on. And this goes back to that analogy of, a Formula One car. The rebuildable dripping atomizer is the equivalent in our industry to the Formula One car within the automotive industry, right? It pushes the limits. It's all about pushing performance, going a step further. And that's great. It advances, it sets the standard. It sets the bar higher. It leads to things like the Atlantis, where we have a massive coil at, half an ohm and it's great. But the problem is if you have somebody that's a novice, they've never gotten behind the wheel of a car, and they hop in an F1 car, and that F1 car only costs, $50 on Fast Tech, you're going to have people getting killed. It's just going to happen because you can't drive an F1 car, without having the proper training.
Right.
It's okay for there to be cloud chasers. It's totally okay for there to be flavor chasers. We need to just acknowledge that, hey, they're different. You can't go down to 0.2 ohms with 100 watts and expect you're going to get great flavor. You're not. You're going to incinerate your juice and your flavoring, period. It's not even really negotiable. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, when I went to, it was the first Vape Blast in Texas. There was a particular vendor there that, I wanted to try their liquids, and they handed me their liquid in a dripper, okay? And I went to vape it, and it was so hot. It was so... Well, I couldn't taste anything. All I got was heat. And I think I even told the guys, I'm like, that has got to be the worst way you could present your e-liquids to the first-time person who's trying it.
That's right.
I mean, it was just heat. It was just,
right.
And
if you want that, the whole thing is, if you want that, that's okay, as long as you're being safe out of respect to you, but more importantly, those around you.
Yeah.
We don't want a Texas event happening in brick and mortars across the U.S.
Right. And like you said before, not only to those around you, but really to vaping, as a whole.
Because, that's right.
Every bad report, every bad incident is just another piece of ammunition for those who want to regulate us out of existence.
That's right. And it's, we got into this, at least, I can't speak for everybody, but I think I'm speaking for you and for myself. I got into this for one word, for life. That's what it's all about. More birthdays, more life, no tobacco. It all comes down to life. And if we're doing something that we know endangers ourselves, such as not practicing battery safety and putting those around you in danger, that is not what I signed up for. And it's not what I'm going to be okay with the vaping industry looking like. And I don't think it's going to, especially if individuals like yourself can really help to get ahead of this.
Right.
I think that we're going to be okay, but this has all happened so fast. We're still as an industry playing catch up on what's even happened over the last, year.
If you blink your eyes in this industry, this just flies right by. It's so changing so fast.
Exactly, because I told you a little bit about my story. For me, I was into vaping back in 2008. I had started a company. We were selling Cigalikes. It was called Vape Star, which I know somebody's taken that name now. And I was in the industry for a while until the lawsuits happened and blah, blah, blah with Enjoy. And I went and did other things. And I got back into vaping in 2013. And I was just blown away at how freaking fast the industry had changed. It was complicated. There were so many liquids. There were so many devices. And that was the reason why I started Zamplebox, purely to address that problem of, hey, you want to get into vaping or you're already vaping. How do we make this simpler? How do we make it more fun? How do we really, if you boil down the essence of vaping, how do you instill that into a community? That's why I started Zamplebox. And
so let's start.
That needs to continue.
Right. So let's start talking about that a little bit. Let's talk about the green box. Can we talk?
Yeah, sure.
You want to stop getting preachy for a little while and we'll talk about the green box?
I love preaching.
I know,
especially when it's important, but we can talk about Zamplebox.
Right, but I don't want a whole bunch of thumbs down in this video. So let's talk about the green box.
Okay, sure.
All right.
By the way, these are my opinions, and
they do not necessarily reflect the opinions of PBusardo, right?
That's totally correct.
For the most part, they do. But
and really quick, one last tidbit.
Go ahead.
To summarize, all I'm saying is that we have to, as an industry, acknowledge there are many ways to vape, and as long as you're vaping and you're doing it in a safe way, that is a win.
Right now, see that I can totally get behind, okay? Because, and I've heard this so many times about people not feeling comfortable about going to vape meets with an ego, or with their tiny little clear miser, and that bugs the hell out of me. That because I mean I remember. Hold on, let me show you. Let me show you where I started. It's right here. Here it is. Look.
By the
okay?
way, you can't see it, but Phil has like every single device ever made. It's a museum.
That's not
honestly.
true.
This is a museum.
That's not true. But that is what successfully got me off of traditional tobacco cigarettes. Okay, that little Joy 510 battery right there. Of course, I don't have an atomizer on it right now, but I mean, there was no such thing as a cartomizer when I started, right? So it was just an atomizer. It was a regular resistance. No, it had a bridge.
Okay.
I had the bridge, and you screw the atomizer on there, and then you fill up the little cartridge and you put it on there. And I always say the same thing: you pray to God that the e-liquid would find its way to the coil. Most of the times it didn't.
Right.
So we started messing around with blue foam and Lipton pyramid tea bags and all that other jazz. But when I look at like what I'm vaping now compared to how I started, I mean, let's do a size comparison.
And this, yeah, and,
You know what I mean?
and how many years is that? That's the thing. Like,
Well,
this
2009.
is fast.
This
Yeah,
is 2009.
2009. It's 2014, going on 15 right now,
Right.
and that is the level of innovation.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is it's not like what I'm trying to say is that I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying that things have moved very, very fast for everybody, and it's important to take a pause and soak it in and say, okay, why are we doing this? And what is our vaping industry going to look like? Are we going to say that everybody has to be the extreme mountain biker going off the 50-foot cliffs, or you're not cool? Or can we say that, hey, the bicycle is an incredible innovation, everyone should have one and use a bicycle, but you don't have to go off the 50-foot cliffs with extreme suspension and all of that.
Right.
And I'm more advocating that. I think it's awesome if people want to go and blow huge clouds. Just make sure that it's safe and that you're not going to have your mod blow up at a show and take the whole industry down. That's all I'm saying. And to also acknowledge that, like, I'm a flavor chaser. Obviously, I started Zamplebox. I love flavors. So the reason why I see this all the time is people will call up and they're like, man, like, oh my God, the juices you sent, they're terrible, blah, 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 blah. And then we're like, okay, well, can you tell us about your setup? Like, what are you vaping at? They're like, well, I'm rocking the Sigelli. I'm vaping at 100 watts, 0.15 ohms. It's like, okay, well, that's the reason why. and the thing is, like, we have cloud chasers on our team, right? Like Jeff, he's self-proclaimed. He's a cloud chaser, right? He'll try a new liquid. He's like, oh yeah, man, like, wow, so much VG, huge clouds, but I can't taste a thing. It's like, yeah, well, that's fine as long as you admit it,
Right. Yeah, you said that maybe for that kind of vaping, just use VG and nicotine if you want.
I've done it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you want to blow huge clouds, and that's all you care about, why are you even spending money like buying? I mean, honestly, you can just go and get VG and put some nicotine in it. There you go. To be honest with you, and I know people do it, so hey. And that's fine. If that's what it takes for you to vape and be off cigarettes, that's fine.
Right. But the one thing that I would like to get across is that there are multiple styles of vaping today, and it would be really nice if people would acknowledge and respect how everybody vapes, right. and that we can all realize that the one thing that we do have in common, no matter how you vape, is that we're not smoking anymore.
That's correct.
Right. I think that's the important point.
That's what it's all about. I mean, within the Zamplebox family, because to provide a little bit of context, and this kind of goes into talking about Zamplebox, but Zamplebox is a community and a family first, and it's a product and service second. Period. So we have an international family. We have thousands and thousands of members all over the world on every single continent. It's pretty incredible. I literally can't believe it, but and that's the thing that's really important to us. There's no elitism. So anytime we ever see it, we remove it. It's like, it's all about sharing the passion of vaping,
right,
in whatever way you find that passion. Right. That's what's important.
Yeah, I love when I get emails and the emails start off with, "Hey Phil, I have a stupid question." To me, there is no such thing as a stupid question. I mean, I remember I showed you the battery, right? I remember where I started as a vapor, and I remember back then I had stupid questions too, and I am so grateful, to all of the people who answered all of those stupid questions, because I wouldn't know what I know today. right? And for me not to share that with the smoker who's becoming a vapor, for me not to share that with the vapor who's using an ego is
That's
ridiculous in
right.
my humble opinion. I mean, we're vapors.
That's right. We need to understand too, and yeah, I'm totally preaching, and I hope you're okay with it. But
They won't be. They're gonna thumb it
that's
down.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll be the fall guy here. It's totally fine. You can, email me about it. That's totally fine. But the thing is like we need to understand that as a community, we're on a train. Like we're on a train on a track, and that train is moving fast. And we need to remember that, we can't leave this station before the new vapor. Like we don't want to miss out on people that are still smoking, and we don't want to make it too complicated and make it too elitist to forget about those people because we all started there.
Right.
It's true. I mean, we
Comfort. I see, and that's why I want people who watch this channel, be they a rookie, because I don't like noob. I never like noob. I like rookie. All right. So be they a rookie or be they a veteran, right? I want them to feel welcomed here. I want them to feel at home here and feel comfortable here, and just know that no matter how you vape, that
And
hopefully I'll have a little something
and
for
this
everybody.
is this is essentially I view this as opening up a philosophical conversation. And it's true. I mean, this is, I think, just a conversation that we need to have in hopefully an even bigger forum. I'd like to see these conversations at at the next big meet. Like we need to start asking these questions as a community of what do we want vaping to look like when we fast forward down the road? What do we want to look like? And if we all, can come to a consensus that we want to look how it is today, that's fine. If we think that we should have, a little bit less elitism in certain ways, I think that could be better.
Well,
But
yeah, I think it would be a lot better, right? But how you make that happen is a completely different, thing.
yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think, like I said, you have to have, like if you look at a ultra performance racing team, Red Bull Racing, or we probably would want to give the example of Marlboro Racing on their F1 team. But if you look at like an F1 team, they're obviously elitist. Every F1 team thinks they're the best. They think they're going to win it all, and that's fine. Like I think in the last year, especially 2013, we've developed an action sport component of vaping, that's largely coming out of LA, like out of Southern California. I think it's okay for us to have that component. We just need to, as an industry, acknowledge that, hey, like, you want to get into vaping? Okay, great. It might be great for you to have a dripping atomizer or a rebuildable dripping atomizer. It might also not be great for you to start out there. Maybe you should start off with, the device that works best for you and try them and take in the knowledge and, make a decision, not just saying like, oh, wow, big clouds, I need that, and that's fine. Like,
Right.
for example, my trajectory was, Anakin products, CE, I had like CE4, CE5s, kind of did all those tanks, and then I found that there just was nothing that compared to dripping. So I used an RDA, love the plume veil. I'm a huge fan of dripping still. Like, don't get me wrong, love it. I totally understand why people build, why people drip.
Sure.
But that's why I love the new Atlantis, because the performance that you get, it's basically like Atlantis or Aspire, took that performance element and that taste, still having the great taste, and they put it into a very user-friendly product, with the exception of it being pretty complicated to figure out how to charge
Yeah, because there's no instructions. It doesn't come with a charger. I know I said that about the battery too.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
and I had figured out, by the way, that rattle too. A couple people clued me into it.
Yeah.
Here, hold on. Yeah, let's do it, because his has that too.
There's definitely a
You hear
rattle.
that? It is the switch. So if I hold the switch, I just push the button. Rattle goes away.
That's
okay?
right.
So it's definitely the switch. You guys were right. Okay.
But
There-
fantastic product. I mean, honestly, and this is like 70 something bucks
for the whole rig. Yeah.
Yeah, and you get a 40 amp high drain rechargeable eco battery, is essentially what it is.
Yeah.
It goes down. I think it's point. It says right here, but I think it's 0.2. Okay.
0.3.
0.3 ohms. Okay.
0.3. By spec, it's 0.3. It actually does go a little bit lower than that, but by spec, it's 0.3. And I kind of torture tested it the other night, and it doesn't regulate voltage all that well. And people have said that it's actually not, designed to be a regulated battery. But, it's still, in my humble opinion, when you add things like 5-click protection, when you add things like cutoff, people just, I would think they would assume that it's trying to be a regulated battery, but this doesn't seem to be doing
Yeah,
that.
well,
But I mean, on a full charge with that tank, it does work good.
vaping is a personal thing.
Absolutely.
No one is forcing you to vape. It's not a one size fits all thing.
Right.
And goes down to exactly what we were talking about before, which is that it's important to have the diversity of options. We love that. It's awesome that somebody can have a vape flask and have like, and like DNA 40 chips, and that's great. Like if you believe that that's what you need,
or maybe Dimitri can have his pink mods, right?
Yeah, Dimitri can definitely have that.
Right.
And there's that's fine. That's great. I think we just need to make sure that we keep vaping, we keep focused on what it's all about. It's about, in my opinion, it's about life. It's about getting people off of smoking. It's about making it fun, easy, accessible, making it a better culture, a better community, and that's what it's about. And however we can find the way to do that, then that's a success.
Yeah, I like that. And I mentioned before, and you talked a little bit about the Zamplebox community.
Right.
Okay. And I experienced when I saw your booth at it was one of the events. I don't remember which one. Maybe it was Miami, where you had like the photo booth set up, and you had the tablecloth of all your members, photos of all your members. Yeah. And then I went to the Zamplebox Facebook page, and you said it was like a drama-free, elitist-free area, and I received quite a welcome there. So talk a little bit.
You were even on the Hangouts.
That's right. I jumped on the Hangouts with some folks.
Yeah,
there too,
yeah. I mean, Zamplebox, like I said before, it's community first. Community first, product totally second. Whatever we can do to make our community a better place is what we do. And so, my whole view, and you can probably tell by how much I'm preaching, is like I haven't really found that the vaping community is that way. So we're creating our own family of vapors that have a similar viewpoint. And definitely some people don't share our same worldview, but a lot of people do. And so that's what it's all about. We have a members only group. When you join Zamplebox, you become a part of the Zamplebox family, and it's awesome. I mean, it's really a family. I text our members on a regular basis, like emails all the time. I mean, it's truly a family.
Okay, so Zamplebox. All right, let's talk a little bit about this, because I introduced this a while ago now at this point, right?
Yeah, it was like a year ago.
Yeah,
I think it was like a year ago.
So, really, how old are you now, Tony? Were you?
Yeah, I'm 24 years old.
24 years old, and you started this company like a little over a year ago, right?
Yeah, I was 23.
23. Okay, so you're living the American dream right now.
Well, I mean, yes. The short answer to that is yes, but for reasons that are, having to do with causing a change in the world that I think is really positive and needed.
That's cool.
So that's the most exciting thing. The most exciting thing is that when we have people, write to us and say like, hey, like I really couldn't find, a fit for me in vaping until I discovered Zamplebox, and like it was easy and affordable, and I could like finally figure out the liquids that I wanted. And, like those are the type of things that make it a big win. And where we go from here, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I just can't discuss, obviously.
There's always those things
on here, but yeah, we're working on some really awesome stuff that I think will just completely change the industry. I mean, I really think Zamplebox did change, definitely a segment. It created a segment of the industry that did not exist before.
Right.
And I'm confident that with our community that, we'll continue to do awesome stuff. That's how we do things. We just listen to our community.
Right.
They tell us what they want.
So let's go back to a little over a year ago. What was the trigger that said, I'm gonna come up, I'm gonna do this?
That's right.
This is what I'm gonna do.
So basically, as I kind of mentioned before, I started to get back into vaping in early 2013. I was doing a bunch of other stuff. I had started a company. It failed. I was living on a floor of my friend's house. It was really down and out, to say the least. And I started to get back into vaping, and I was like, what the hell? Like, this is so much different. It's way more complicated, but it's also a lot better, but it was just more complicated. And so I was like, hey, there has to be a better way. There's got to be a more simpler way. Blindly ordering liquids online just to try them and figure out you don't like them and pay full retail and pay shipping. I knew that there's a way. And so I started calling. At first I talked to other vapors, and they shared the same problem. Then I talked to liquid manufacturers, and they were like, yeah, I mean, it's a huge pain. Like, there has to be an effective way to get people to try our product.
Right.
And that's what kind of started Zamplebox. It was like this friction between vapors wanting to try a bunch of new flavors, wanting, to not spend a fortune online paying full retail just to try products. And then also, having this community of people that were not elitist, that were, very much just passionate about vaping at its core, about life, about being there for each other, having this common thread. And so when I found that out, that people had that problem, I had to do something about it. And so within literally a month, I created Zamplebox. Amazing people joined in that vision, and it's kind of mind blowing how fast it's grown. Really,
Yeah.
It really has grown very fast.
And you're not going to tell me how many subscribers you have, are you?
No, but you can check us out on Facebook. It's pretty big.
So, tell us about the service itself. So, what do you get with the service?
Yeah,
How do you sign up? Where do you go?
Sure. So, let me preface this by saying, in full disclosure, I'm 100% here to talk about raising the elevation of the bar within.
Right. I'm actually asking him about Zample, but
yeah, because I was actually resistant to talk about it.
He was
with you. But anyway, so Zamplebox, the product, if you want to get down to that, it starts at less than $1 a day. It's like 99 cents a day for the smaller box. Every month we ship you a box, and you get 6 of the finest liquids that we've curated. We only accept about 3% of liquids that are sent to us, so the 3% that get in are the ones that go out in the box. And yeah, for almost $30 a month, you get $60 to $70 worth of product. If you're really enthusiastic vapor and you go through a ton of liquid, then you can get the gold box, and the gold box is kick butt to say the least. If you're a gold member, you know what's up. I mean, it's $45 and you get 11 full-size bottles. So the retail value of that box is typically like upwards of $150 for $45. So our whole model is like, we don't really advertise. We just send out a really great product at a really great price, and people spread the word organically. That's been our model from the get-go.
And where
it works.
Where do people go to sign up for this? Not just the Facebook.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right. Zamplebox.com.
Okay.
ZAMPLEBOX.com.
Yep. I'm gonna put him on the spot now. Okay, here we go. Because I'm an unbiased, no nonsense kind of guy. So you said you how did you put it? You curate the finest e-liquids out there.
That's right.
How do you do that? Because okay, look, people are starting to get onto the safety bandwagon a little bit with e-liquids, and that's a good thing, right?
It's true.
They're concerned about the diacetyl. They're concerned about the AP. I call it AP because I can't pronounce the other thing. So you're in a unique position to filter what goes in this box.
That's correct.
All right, so
so today we focus a lot on the liquid and bottling, but there's more that we can do. There's always more that can be done. So our process, somebody sends us liquid, a company will send us liquid. We have some things that we immediately will discard the liquid for, improper labeling, bottling quality. If we have a conversation with them and it's very clear that something is off, and a lot of times it is, and we're not comfortable with how the liquid might be made or the individual's track record, and they have no credit really, they're not someone that we would like to do business with, then we would definitely not put the liquid out. Then if it gets past that stage, of which 80% just don't get through that stage, then from there we will taste the product, of course, make sure that it's a great vape. We're all very passionate vapors at the company, so everybody vapes the product. If it's great, then from there we have a more in-depth conversation with the company, and we figure out if it's going to be a fit. And that's kind of our process. And there are some there are some other key points that I'm leaving out because I can't just give our entire recipe away. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. We receive a ton of liquid. It's mind-blowing how many liquid companies there are out there.
And I wanted to talk to you about that too.
Just
so
mind-blowing.
We can get into that.
Yeah,
but I mean, with you in this position, with all of the liquids coming through you before they get into this box, I will challenge you to take that to the next level.
Absolutely.
In the future.
And it's something we are aware of, and it's like everything has its rate of progression. It's like within vaping, we know that the products are not perfect, right? It's like when vaping started, we were not all up to, knowledge with diacetyl, and all of the other, chemicals that we found
We're
out.
learning. We're learning as we go.
Yeah, you learn as you go, and you do what you can, but we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? So that's our approach. Like when it is feasible and when we can, we absolutely do take those steps forward to raise the bar, and we have for sure. Um, but of course, like I said, don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. The time will come. It's definitely coming, and it's exciting for the entire industry. Honestly, like the bar has been raised. If you look at bottles of liquid from 2012 and you compare them to where they are now, I mean it's a world of a difference.
So you told me a couple things. You told me like the change in 2013, then the change you saw in 2014, and what you estimated for 2015. Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, quick. So I mean, I think that 2013 was the year of, hey, let's start a liquid company and just get the liquid in the bottle and get it into a store.
Right.
The year of 2014, this year has been branding. There's brands. There's
the hype.
Yeah. I don't see. That's the thing. Another thing about Zamplebox is we don't submit to the hype. We don't deal with that. I mean, there's marketing, right? Marketing does things to the psyche that
right.
It's not the quality of the product, it's the hype that you're buying into. So we cut through that, and I think that 2014 has been the year of the hype, and we've seen that. You've seen one liquid company get really popular, and then no one's really talking about it anymore. And so I think 2015 is going to be the year of more quality. I think that it's going to go from 2013, get the liquid in a bottle, sell it, no one's really asking questions. Year of 2014 has been branding. We've started to learn about certain chemicals that we should just not have in our liquid. 2015 is going to be quality standards raised.
Right.
I think a lot more transparency into labs, a lot more transparency into the how is this liquid being made, which is great. I mean, that's good.
Right.
These type of things I think that consumers, through more conversations like this, consumers are going to demand consistency, transparency, and quality, on top of the branding that is very much in demand right now, and the hype. There definitely is hype, and that's fine. If that's what it takes to get people interested, and make the switch, and that's okay. The industry just as a whole has so much momentum behind it, and with Christmas and then the fourth quarter, Hanukkah, all of the festive seasons of giving, and then the new year with New Year's resolutions, it's going to double again, and
what I noticed this year was really cool was all of the Black Friday deals that a lot of the vape shops had, right? I saw that more this year than I did last year. They just really got on that whole retail bandwagon and took advantage of that whole Black Friday thing.
Let me just apologize because there's probably a lot of people that may have had this happen to them. So we did a big Black Friday deal. It was supposed to be very limited and only for members, and our shopping cart system is like so amateur. I can't believe this happened, but our system did not put a limit at how many could be ordered. So we were trying to be nice by essentially giving Atlantis's and CF batteries to people like at cost, and the limit did not go off, and so there was a ton of them that ordered. And there's a lot of some people I'm sure that are watching this are like, oh, Zamplebox, like ship me my Atlas or my Atlantis, and trust me, we're working on it, and sorry about the delay. Black Friday was crazy.
So you did move a lot of them, but to not as many people as you wanted to.
Well, we did that, but we really truly did it at cost. It was supposed to be like a limited promotion.
Well, the good
members.
news is that you can still get those, but now they're on eBay at a marked up price. Probably.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you go about educating your customers? What do you do in addition to running Zamplebox? I know you have a show.
We don't have a show. Oh, you mean on our YouTube?
Yeah, don't you have
Yeah. We do Zample Talks, which are a way for us to just bring up things like this. Like we talk about battery safety, variable wattage. We've been inspired by you.
Oh, please.
So we do things like that specifically for our community, or things that were brought up within our community that we address. The other key thing is like addressing things through customer service. The other day somebody called, I picked up the phone, and they were having an issue with Zamplebox box mod, because we have 30-watt box mod. We've since discontinued it just because I believe in a much more simple device, frankly. But the person had they were getting it for a friend who's a smoker, and the friend had fired up and it started smoking, and so that was very scary. And I started to dig into it, and I found out the battery was in backwards, and it was also not a properly rated battery. And so I immediately said, don't worry about that. Like, that's on us. I want to make sure that your friend gets off of cigarettes. I'm going to send you free of charge one of these products. Don't worry about it, right? So,
Very cool.
like, that's kind of the way that we address things. Of like, we need to make sure that you are doing things in the right way, and we'll do what it takes for you to do things in the right way. And
Cool. All right, so you mentioned you have a Zamplebox box mod, right? So you're not only the liquids, then you guys.
Well,
do
so
too?
yeah, so we, as I said before, like, we're really just listen to our Zamplebox family. The Zamplebox family dictates what we do. So people really wanted a box mod, a Zamplebox box mod, and so we were like, hey, well, sure, let's do one. Really limited, so we did it, and they were gone really fast. We did another run with updated design, and then we just went through those, and we just that's that. We are doing a very, very limited, like super limited run with the Tantra mod, a Zamplebox edition. That'll be really sweet. So that should be, actually, it might even be available by the time this video is up.
Cool.
But they could be gone by the time this video is up.
Cool.
But yeah, so it all comes down to, for us, listening to the Zamplebox family. If that means making changes to Zamplebox, we make those changes, and we have and continue to make those changes to improve. If it means that getting into other segments, making hardware, working with companies that are the best at making hardware, then we do that as well.
Okay. And where did the Zamplebox name come from?
Zamplebox. And
Well, I understand. Where's the Z from?
yeah, so actually this is really interesting. So really the Z in Zamplebox came from this notion that vapors are a different breed of people, and that while others might not understand us, we understand ourselves. And that was kind of it. That's really what it stood for, is that a lot of people hear Zamplebox and it means nothing to them, but for those people that understand it on an emotional level and that are part of the Zamplebox family, it signifies it. The Z is, hey, we are very different. You don't really see Z's that often. It's very, except for Zen, right? But
He'll disagree, right?
yeah, but that's what it signifies. Vapors are a different breed of people. They are, cutting edge. We're early adopters. We're doing this because we believe in it. And hey, people might not understand us, we understand ourselves, and that's fine.
Right.
And we focus once again on the community. We focus on, one step at a time, not doing it for other people, but doing it for us.
Right.
And I think that's what vaping's about. We're not doing this for other people, doing it for us.
Yeah. Well, what I do is kind of a lot for other people. Too.
What I mean is, as an industry,
Right.
Like, we're doing this because we've found success with it, and we want
Right.
to share that. But
let's not kid ourselves. I started off doing this for me, right, as a healthier alternative to traditional tobacco.
That's correct. That's correct.
So, in closing, any final thoughts for the folks while you're here?
Well,
This could go on forever.
I mean, yeah, we could we could really talk forever, but I've really enjoyed the time here with
Cool.
you. Thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure.
And to all of the friends of Phil around the world, it's really been a pleasure. I'm curious to see what the comments are and what the feedback is to this discussion.
We'll find out soon enough.
I'm really excited to see what.
Great, another million comments I got to respond to.
That's good though. That's good. One comment at a time.
Absolutely. I know.
Everybody's opinion is very important.
Well, and it is, and that's one of the reasons why I go through all the comments. Just one, to show my appreciation for people watching, the videos, but also it's a data gathering thing for me, right? I can go through and I can read the comments and I can understand what's important to people.
That's right.
Where the sore spots are, where the happy spots are, how I can maybe adjust and tune my videos to make them more watchable or more enjoyable or more helpful to people. So those are really the two reasons why I do take the time to respond to all the comments.
That's what it's all about.
So you keep saying two things that I really, really like, and it's family and it's community, and it would be nice for people to understand that, as vapors, no matter how you vape, we are a family and we are a community, and
100%.
we are a whole lot stronger together than we are separate. Yeah.
And that we really need to, I 100% agree with that. And that, we really just need to decide as a collective group why we are doing this and what we want to accomplish moving forward as a whole. What does the ideal, situation look like for vaping? What's the ideal vaping community? Like, what does that look like?
Well, the good thing is that maybe there is no ideal, but that kind of goes back to the fact that there are so many different devices and there are so many different options and there are so many different liquids, and you can tailor, your vape to your own personality, to yourself, to what you need, in a vape. But I just want it, to ring clear that thing that we have in common, the thing that we will always have in common, and moving forward, is that we don't do this anymore. And I always hold this one up, and people say, "Why do you have that cigarette?" And I always angle it up because the tobacco is so dry in here. If I hold it together, it's going to fall out. But this is what we don't do anymore.
It's true.
So.
Some people take this in a negative way. I don't at all. But I've always kind of thought of vaping as a really big, extended AA group. And that's where because you're right. We all have a common thread.
We do.
We've all smoked cigarettes.
Yep.
We've all quit smoking cigarettes, and you really never, except for like an AA group or something, of that nature, you never have a situation where everyone has one of the largest achievements in their life together. And that's why when you go to these meets, people are so, you can just go sit down next to somebody and
it is
talk
cool,
for an
yeah.
hour. I did that like at ECC. Literally just talk to, a person for an hour, and they became what I would consider a friend. Like, it's awesome.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
Awesome. So we good?
Well, I would love to keep talking for 5 more hours, but I think we should.
People already bitch about the length of my my videos, so we.
That's right. Well, I love it. I'll sit down and watch 2 episodes.
Yeah.
It's either that or Netflix, and I think Phil's channel is a lot better than Netflix.
Well, thanks very much. People have said that I should put my videos up on Netflix because they are full feature length videos.
Yeah, that would be good. You should have your own Netflix original series.
Yeah, nice.
How about the theatrical version? That'd be cool too.
Yeah, sure. More work for me. Tony, thanks very much for stopping by, and I wish you the best of luck with Zamplebox and anything you have coming out in the future.
Sounds good. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming out, and it's always new juice every single month, and good stuff. Let the good times roll. Okay,
and I will once again challenge you, because you could be an amazing filter for this. I mean, think about it. For those people who are out there who are so concerned about safety with their e-liquids, you have the ability to put in this box the safest stuff you could. I mean, I could foresee you going to look at the areas where all of the juices that go in here are being made. I can see you looking at the testing reports of all of the juices that are going in here. You have the power and the ability to do that. So
with every person that joins us, because there's a resource constraint, honestly. I mean, let's be honest. So with every single person that joins us, it's more that we're able to do, and we've done that. So we've done that to the extent of which we're able to do, and it will continue.
Excellent.
Down that road.
All right. So thanks again, bud.
Absolutely.
All right, folks. That's about it for this video. I hope you found some of it informational, fun, relaxing, or annoying. It could be all of those things. As always, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Okay, so I said stick around to the end. You're watching me right now, apparently, so you must have stuck around to the end. And I said we were going to add some more stuff to the stocking. What are we going to add this time? Well, we talked about the Atlantis a little bit in this video. I recently talked about it in the review video for the Aspire Atlantis. How about an Aspire Atlantis for you guys, okay? This one donated from Ecto World. Thank you to the fine folks at Ecto World for the Aspire Atlantis that's going into the stocking. Now, something else, something that we don't have in the stocking yet, and it's kind of unacceptable, right? We got all that nice gear to vape with, but we don't have any e-liquid. Okay, well, I do want to thank Tony for stopping by and giving us some of his views and opinions on vaping, battery safety, and talking about Zamplebox. And Tony has donated a rather nice prize to the stocking. What you are going to get is a 1-year membership to Zamplebox Gold. Okay, so for the entire year of 2015, you are going to get e-liquid delivered directly to your door. Okay, and should you win the stocking, I will hook you up with Tony. He will get your information and get you signed up for a year's membership of Zamplebox Gold. Not a bad prize, guys. And now we definitely have e-liquid in the stocking. All right. So it's getting close. We're just about ready to close it up, which means I'm just about ready to let you guys know how to win it, because really I haven't even figured it out yet. But that's coming soon. So just stay tuned to these videos, and I'll let you know all about it when I figure it out. Okay. So that's it, you guys. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
Can I taste your juice?